Assuming that the Palace game doesn't trigger the hysteria again, Glenn, what have you made of them? How do you reckon this one might play out at the weekend? Because I think it was 2-2 on our last trip to South London. It's always a
close game.
Place to go.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I mean, I'm already thinking of Lianco against Wilfred Zaha down that side of the pitch.
Had that
for sure.
That'll just be fantastic. So. Yeah, that'll be really interesting. There's no way that 90 minutes goes by without there being some sort of square up on the pitch with Prowse chipping away at the background, in the background saying something as well. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Do you remember Lianco's debut against Sheffield United in that cup game where he had that to do with Ollie McBurney?
Yeah. I can see something like that. I mean, Palace this year, I kind of expected them to be one of the better sides this year. When I looked at them on paper, I thought, they could sort of, break the top 10 this year, but it hasn't really happened for them yet. I think they're missing Conor Gallagher, obviously, from midfield, who was only on loan last year. I like certain elements of their side. I think their centre-backs are good. Gay and Anderson, I think, are decent. Fullbacks, not so much. Mitchell and Ward, I think they can definitely be got at. They're not great, sort of defending the back post, that sort of thing. They've got some decent attacking players. Bit of an idiot though he is. Zaha is decent. Eze, Elise, good players.
Good.
Not sure about up front. Odsonne Edouard just doesn't seem to have done too much since he's come down from Celtic. So in midfield they seem to be a little bit weak as well. Again, missing Conor Gallagher. So I do think it's an opportunity. I watched a bit of their game against Everton, and they were truly dreadful. It's got totally outworked, outrun in midfield. They actually had he's the striker who never scores apart from against us. Jordan Ayew was playing.
There's a list of those.
Well, he's playing sort of central midfield, and he just didn't look comfortable at all. Milivojevic is still playing. I don't know how old he is now, so I don't know if they got injuries in there, but it's a chance to take advantage of the fact that they weren't particularly great. I also watched a bit of their game against Wolves earlier on in the week, and I know they won that in the end. First half, honestly, they couldn't put two passes together. It was dreadful. So I definitely think we go into that game thinking, if we put in a decent performance, we've got a good chance here. But it's again a case of doing the basics and making sure we keep it tight, make them work for anything that they want to get, because we will have chances, and then it's the old thing of can we take them? Hopefully Shay Adams will be fit, and and we can get something out of that game. But I certainly don't see why not.
It's going to be about the momentum again, Alfie, isn't it? There'll be people saying, actually, well, maybe we should bring in like a Dozy. Someone just said about should be given the nod. But would he want to stick with the same team from today just to give them a chance?
I don't know if it'll be exactly the same team today, because it's a very different game, isn't it? But, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Moyle Yunusi again on the right even, or something like that. I was actually just going to touch on what Palace a little bit, as well as what Glenn said. I've been having a keen interest in Palace's attack since having Wilfred Zaha in my fantasy, and I couldn't agree more with Glenn. They look really out of sorts. It's three really good attackers, and Elise, Eze, and Zaha. But again, against Leicester, they drew 0-0. Their attacker didn't do anything, didn't lay a glove on Leicester. One of the only teams to not lay a glove on Leicester this season, surely. And Wolves, Zaha did well, but in the second half. But I watched the first half, and he didn't touch the ball. And then I only come back on to see after that he's man of the match, and they've got a goal. So I couldn't agree more with Glenn. I think there's a massive opportunity to get at them there. And that game last season to Selhurst Park in, I think it was December. That was actually really lucky, because Ward-Prowse free kick and Armando Broja 40-yard, 30-yard strike. Neither of those things look like happening right now, but definitely a chance to get at. Whether I'd name the same team or not, I don't know. It is such a different game that. Do you want to go with this four at the back and play Lianco right back again? That clearly doesn't work, does it? So if you don't do that, who do you play? Do you play Juan Larios? Is he ready for the Premier League? Probably not, in my opinion. So I think you've got to make some changes, but I probably would go with that 5, El Yunusi, the same midfield, and then hopefully Che Adams is back in.
Che Adams back in up front, yeah. They did get one over on us at St Mary's in May, Steve, but we kind of like died out by then. That was, sort of like post-January. We'd given up and we're on the beach, weren't we? It was, not a great one. Always a tough place to go. Let's do some predictions for this. I was going to say, let's start with anybody who got the Arsenal one right, but nobody did. Glenn, you're still leading Alfie by 1 point at the top of the table. We all thought we'd lose today. Steve, let's go to you first for the Palace prediction. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we do. We
It's going to be
generally
positive.
do. No, we generally do all right there, and they're not looking great. All of a sudden, we look as if we at least know what we're doing vaguely. So yeah, why not? 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Right, Glenn.
I was going to say that, so I'm not now. I'm going to say a 1-0 win.
1-0. This is all very positive, isn't it? Alfie?
Based on the current sort of way things were going this season, I tried to avoid what Steve predicts. So I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw, right. Well, I reckon there's some goals in it. I'm going to go for 2-2. So there we go. I just want to touch on the women's game as well. It was odd today because all the games kicked off at the same time, trying to keep on top of it was the women's game and then the B game as well. Great win for the women's team today, beating Sheffield United 1-0. Alfie, you were at their match on, was it Monday night?
Yes.
You've seen a lot of football this week.
Yeah, too much. Well, no, I don't know. Not enough, actually. No, they were really good on Monday. We spoke about the game beforehand, but Birmingham are a side who, cup winners in the last sort of 5 years. They're in the WSL last season. And I spoke to Marianne Space-Curl after they got a 1-0 win and they'd edged them out. She said that it was like a boxing match and they laid the knockout punch eventually. And it did feel that way. But I asked her what her message was to the players, and she was keen to say that it's not the pinnacle. What we've achieved today is good. We've beaten an established setup. It was a fourth good result against a fourth good team in a row, with Palace, Bristol City, Lewis as well. And then they've won one again away on the road today. And you just think that anything really is possible in that division. Coventry United, only one team goes down in the Championship, which is a disgrace because last season we were on the other end of it and we're saying, Southampton have got to win the league and then win a playoff to go up, which is a joke. There should be two, but by that virtue, on the right side now, Coventry United got no points after 6 games. You say that Southampton, they're going to be in the Championship next season already. They've already established that, and from here on, it's just looking upwards.
All part of the plan, which is good.